This is what truly happens when you stop fawning over narcissists. Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today, I want to dive into a topic that's been on my mind. Fawning. I've touched on fawning before because it's such a crucial concept in understanding narcissistic relationships. But here's the thing. As you learn about fawning and do the trauma work, you might find yourself fawning less. And that's a good thing. However, when you stop fawning, you might encounter some pushback. Suddenly, you're being called difficult. So, let's unpack that together. If you're ready to explore why stopping fawning might lead to others labeling you as difficult, stick around because we're about to dive deep into this topic. And remember, if you find this content valuable, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more insightful discussions like this. Let's get started. Learning to speak up for yourself after narcissistic abuse is really tough. You might have been assertive before, but years of having your needs ignored or put down can mess with that. If you grew up with a narcissistic parent, you might have developed a fawning response to deal with their constant demands and criticisms. Fawning is when you try to please them at all costs, even if it means ignoring your own needs. It's not something you do on purpose. It's a survival instinct to keep the peace with someone who's supposed to care for you, even if they don't. So when people say fawning is manipulative, they've got it all wrong. It's just your body's way of trying to stay safe in a tough situation. Sometimes, folks who've dealt with narcissistic parents or other controlling people feel a sense of shame because they tend to have a fawning response. It's like they feel guilty for going along with the narcissist's behavior. I know this feeling well because I've got a lot of that fawning response in me. It's interesting though, when I'm promoting my book or doing events, I catch myself giving in to certain people's questions, especially if they seem a bit intimidating. It's like I can't help but prioritize them, even though I don't want to. Afterwards, I kick myself for it. I can even feel it in my body, the urge to fawn, to go along with what they want. It's like my nervous system is playing tricks on me. Fears can often appear agreeable and accommodating, almost like they're trying to be the perfect supply for others. Escaping the fawn response is tough though. My colleague, Dr. Ingrid Clayton, is working on a book about this very topic, and it's going to be incredible. Breaking free from the fawn response is like rebelling against your own nervous system. It means choosing not to give in to that urge to please all the time. The challenge arises when you've put in the effort, gone through therapy, and start to move away from constantly fawning over others. Even if those around you aren't narcissistic, they may be used to your accommodating behavior. When you start making appropriate requests, expressing your needs, or asking for what's necessary, it can feel like a monumental shift from the mindset of not being able to vocalize your needs during narcissistic recovery. What I've noticed is that when people start speaking up for themselves and making requests, they sometimes get labeled as difficult. This can be incredibly painful, especially for survivors who have spent a lot of time being accommodating. Personally, I've experienced this during the 6 months I spent promoting the book. I had to keep my tendency to always be accommodating in check, and it was tough. There were moments when I had to be assertive, and it made me feel sick to my stomach. Afterward, I'd often wonder if I had done the right thing or if I had been too harsh. But the hardest part wasn't just making the requests. It was when I was treated as if I were being unreasonable or difficult. It left me feeling exhausted. I'd even reach out to others for reassurance, asking if I had done something wrong. Thankfully, many of them would tell me that I hadn't, and that I should have asked for even more. The fear of being seen as difficult comes with a big price tag, risking losing connections, relationships, and love. It's like facing a tough choice with no good outcome. Fawners feel ashamed for being too accommodating, but then they regret standing up for themselves. It's a lose-lose situation. If you assert yourself, you're labeled as difficult. But if you keep quiet and accommodate, you feel ashamed. So, for those of us who've learned to always put others first, it's not just about making life easier for narcissistic people. It's about making life easier for everyone around us. Our laid-back, I don't want to cause any trouble attitude makes things smooth sailing for others. It's like we're stuck in place, afraid of what might happen if we speak up about our needs. Because when we do, someone's bound to label us as demanding or difficult. Even for the most basic requests, like expecting someone to do their job or show up on time, or follow through on a promise or just answer a question. We're not asking for the moon here, just simple stuff. But these simple requests, especially when we're trying to assert ourselves, which is often necessary in most jobs, can feel like climbing a mountain when you've been through narcissistic abuse. And when we do muster the courage to ask, and then we're met with pushback and labeled as demanding or difficult, it can make us hesitate to assert ourselves again. It's tough dealing with the aftermath of narcissistic abuse, especially when you've learned to bend over backward to keep the peace, to be the nice one, the easygoing friend, the agreeable partner. Outsiders might see it as a great quality, being so adaptable and accommodating. But here's the kicker. While you're busy being flexible, others might not give you the same courtesy. They'll stick to their guns when it comes to their boundaries, but they expect you to keep bending over backward for them. Being labeled as difficult, especially for those who've survived narcissistic abuse, can really throw you off balance. It's like a form of gaslighting, making you question yourself even more, blaming yourself, and wondering if you're the one in the wrong. It's enough to make you second-guess any efforts to stand up for yourself or speak your mind. But we've seen how that story goes if we just stay silent and keep trying to please everyone else. For those of you who have experienced the struggle of being fawners, pleasers, and appeasers, only to be shut down when you finally speak up for yourself or pursue your dreams, it's important to recognize the dynamics at play. Perhaps this is precisely how narcissistic individuals maintain control. Maybe it's time we learn from their tactics. The truth is, it's often easier for people to dismiss your needs as demanding rather than fulfill them. But as you gradually transition away from forming, be prepared for the possibility of being labeled as difficult. Thank you for watching and reflecting on these insights. If you found this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. Also, be sure to check out the link in the description for a free book and to schedule a one-on-one consultation. Take care, and remember, you're not alone on this journey.